have a confession to make. So, I have never read any horror book ever in my life, and I'm very curious that how can someone be scared just while reading a book without any jump scares, music, and cuts. So that is why I just took upon this challenge to read a horror book and see that if it would scare me or not. The book which I've selected for this challenge is The Shining by Stephen King. So there are two reasons why I selected this particular book for this challenge is first, I don't know about many horror books out there, and it's going to take a lot of time for me to research a horror book which I would also enjoy to read. So Stephen King is like really popular author, and also The Shining is like a really popular book, and hence I thought it would be an easy pick. And the second reason why I selected this book is because I've noticed that in some thriller books, the book Shining has been mentioned so many times. For example, in Rock Paper Scissors and also Never Lie. Even in the movies Addams Family, which I watched recently, I've seen Gomez Addams holding this book while he was sleeping, and I was like, oh my god, maybe this is finally a sign for me to read this book, and hence I picked the book. So far I've read only one book by Stephen King, and that is Misery, which I've already spoken about in this challenge, and I absolutely love the psychological thriller kind of vibe, and I'm very curious and excited to read this book too. So I finally read the part 1 of The Shining by Stephen King, and I've also tabbed the book into 5 parts because there are like 5 parts in the book. I'll just tell whatever happened till now without any spoilers. Like there is no spoilers because even I don't know what happened much. So I'll just be telling what is the basic plot of the story. So far in the story, we follow this family of 3, mother, father and a child. The father is Jack, who is a recovering alcoholic and a struggling writer who interviews for this winter caretaker position for this hotel called Overlook. After he gets the job, he sees this job as an opportunity to, rebuild his life and, his connections with his family, and also, become successful as a writer. He thinks this time will help him to, write better stories. Next, we have this wife, and her name is Wendy. So even though she loved and married her husband, she still wants to apply for a divorce after seeing violence in her husband and how violently he behaves after, having alcohol. So next we have Danny, who is the kid in this book, and he is literally only 5 years old, but he has this mysterious psychic ability called The Shining, and also he has an invisible friend called Tony who comes up and gives him some, visions about the hotel which they're going to go in. And he can also see and hear thoughts and things which others can't, which is actually creepy for a 5-year-old guy, but that is how it is, and this is what makes the story even more interesting. The story so far has no jump scares, but still it is very unsettling to read. Honestly, I'm already nervous to read. So Stephen's writing is very sneaky. I don't know how he does that. Even in Misery, I was like literally feeling every pain the main character was feeling, and for Shining also I kind of feel the same. Like you don't need that scary jump scares, but just that creepy unsettling vibes is enough to make you very scared. So on a scale of 10, I would say I'm like a 2 on 10 scared, not 10 on 10, but yeah, just it's a little bit creepy and unsettling, that's it. So I'm very excited to read the next part of the story and know what's going to happen. I know that they're going to go to the hotel and check in and settle in, so let's see. Obviously hotels have very creepy vibe, especially if it's a very huge hotel where everyone is going to go and you're going to just stay with your family, like just 3 people is just like isolation and you're just cut off from the world. Then definitely I think people would go insane if this happens for a period of time. So I'm just curious what is going to happen with this family. I am done with the part 2 of The Shining. I am just in awe reading this. I'm really enjoying it so far. Like I didn't expect to like this book this much because I didn't know how I would feel about reading a horror, but there is not even one scene where I am bored or like, oh my god, this writing is just boring. He even takes a simple paragraph or a simple scenario and just his writing makes it so interesting. Like his detailing and everything is so good, and I can already feel the shift. Like the hotel is completely empty now with only just these three people. With all the staff members and the guests gone, the loneliness is hitting. And also it's very difficult to talk about a book without giving any spoilers, but okay, let's try. Also in the part 2 there's this one chapter where it was very unsettling and creepy. Like it's not a spoiler, but there's a scene where the cook in the book talks to Danny about the hotel's shining too, and that was really very creepy, and I also liked reading about it. It just made the whole book much more interesting. So far there is no outright horror yet. It's more like a slow and psychological suspense, but I can definitely feel it building. It's like the calm before the storm. I don't know how to explain this, but the moment they were left alone in this massive hotel, you can literally see the shift in the atmosphere. You can feel the weight of it, like someone's watching you even though there's nothing there. If this is how Stephen King does horror, then I'm terrified for what's going to come next. So right now on a scale of 1 to 10, I think the scary meter would be 4 on 10, because it is not that scary yet, but also it is like not a peaceful story. I can already feel it very creepy and unsettling, so I'll give it 4 on 10. And let's start with the part 3. What did I even read? Like, oh my god. I just don't know what to even say. Last chapter, like the chapter named Inside 217. If you've already read this book, I'm sure you know what scene and what chapter I'm mentioning. And if you've read that, let me know your experience after reading that chapter, because my brain is not working. Okay, let me talk about the last chapter at the ending, and let's just talk about the update without any spoilers for now. So far in part 2, we have seen that the family has been isolated from all the guests and the staff members, and nothing much has happened till then. But in part 3, oh my god, as the winter deepens, the Overlook Hotel breathes its madness into the Torrance family. And the isolation isn't just physical anymore, it's psychological, and it's definitely creeping into their minds and even into my mind. But he steps inside the room and oh my god, that is the last chapter I've read, guys. I've just read it 10 minutes back and I still am not able to process what I've read. The next scene is deeply disturbing because finally the book has gone from like the creepy tension building to something like a full-blown horror. I was literally having goosebumps reading this chapter, and oh my god, I think I'm in love with Stephen King's writing. Misery is like, yeah, the book which I've read before, that was really good, and I've also felt everything I've read. But The Shining, now I understand the hype behind this book because I can feel every single thing that King has written, and I just love the way he builds the world around us, and you know, the slow tension building. I thought, okay, why would I even be scared? Like, there's nothing happening, it's just a hotel. But oh my god, I am so wrong. Like, I don't even know what to say. I am fully invested in part 4. I think I just want to read and finish this book. I am so curious what is going to happen next. And also to rate the scary meter from 1 to 10, I think it's going to be 7 or even 7.5 on 10, just because of the chapter Room 217. Oh my god, like the writing and the scene, the tension, the build up, everything is totally worth it. I am a person who doesn't express this much, but I don't know, guys, it is just worth it. If you've read this book, you definitely would know what happened. Oh, hello guys, and I'm here with an update, and just don't mind that the room is very dark because it's actually currently midnight and I'm just reading The Shining because I couldn't sleep, and I just wanted to read this book because this was going so good. And oh my god, I'm just so scared to sleep right now. Like, I don't want to continue reading because I am so scared. It is not like outright scary, but it is definitely creepy, and there are some horror scenes which just feels very disturbing for me to read, especially at night when I'm sleeping alone. Just wanted to tell this. This is very creepy and it is definitely giving me the chills. I also love how Stephen King writes about a person's psychology, like how they are and how complicated a human's emotions can be. That is actually very triggering, not just the horror part but also the psychological horror and how psychology affects us. That is very insane to read, and just how a human mind works in general, like how twisted and complicated sometimes we can go, and to what extent that can affect us is really shown well in this story. And I love how he writes even simple scenes and make it looks very scary, and it just drives me insane reading it. And I'm just stopping it here. I've read around 300 pages now, and I'm hoping to continue it tomorrow morning. So let's go and sleep. Guys, so I'm like literally home alone and I'm reading Shining, and I'm like super scared right now. Whatever sound happens, I'm like, oh my god, is anyone there? Is anyone behind me? There are like so many creepy and scary scenes at the part where I am reading right now, and I just feel this constant feeling that oh my god, someone is like right behind me, and that is scaring the shit out of me right now. I've completed The Shining. Also, it's been 3 days since I finished this book, but I've been feeling sick for the last 2 days, so I couldn't shoot the ending part. But nevertheless, here we are. First of all, I want to say one thing. Stephen King is a genius, and this hotel is crazy, and now I'm like so scared to get into hotels. I think even I'm scared to get into elevators, hallways, basements, and everything which is mentioned in this book. I am not going there alone. You won't even believe this if I say, but for the last few days when I was reading this book, I was not in my own reality. I'm not even exaggerating, guys. Like, literally, I was living with these people in this book, in this hotel, and I was going through everything that these characters were also going through. It's like 1 minute they are a happy family, and the next minute they're like trying to murder each other. Oh my god, I went insane with this book. My heart was racing through when I was reading part 5. I just couldn't put it down. I was so obsessed with the story and the ending. I also had literal nightmares while sleeping. It was just so creepy. So now that I finished this book, I would like to say one thing, which is I was not ready for what this book did to my brain. This was like the first real horror book which I've ever read, and honestly I thought I'd just be scared, but I didn't expect it to be this emotionally heavy and deeply disturbing. So this book isn't just about a haunted hotel, but it is about a family who slowly unravels in isolation. What surprised me the most was how intimate this book felt to me, because I've spent so much time inside these people's head, especially Jack, Wendy and Danny, and I felt like whatever was happening to them was literally happening to me. I can feel their pain. That is how I felt reading the book. Stephen King's writing was absolutely haunting, and it was not what he described but how he described, and at a point of time I felt like the hotel was a real character. I'm not saying this just metaphorically, but I feel like it was a real character. And coming to the pacing, I won't lie, but it was slow at some parts, but that is not at all a complaint, because you would love to read those things, and that is what builds the tension even more. So even if it's slow, it's like totally worth it. So in this book you can find themes of abuse, addiction, generational trauma, and being trapped both emotionally and physically. So this book isn't just horror for its sake to be a horror book, but it tries to tell you something. So if you ask me that whether The Shining made me scared or not, then I would say yes, but not in the way I've expected. It was not like monsters kept jumping out and I was just scared for every bit. It was this sense of helplessness in the book which made me scared. Like, that something bad is going to happen, but also no one can stop it from happening. That is the kind of horror I felt while reading this book. But if you are a person who's never read any horror book before, I think this would be a little heavy for you. But if you like horror and then if you read this as a starter too, I don't think it would feel that much difficult, because for me this is my first real horror book ever and I loved every single page that I've read. So now on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that I'm 10 on 10 horrified after reading this book. I was scared and I couldn't stop thinking about this book the whole day after I finished reading it. That is how much this book has impacted me. And now that I've read 2 of Stephen King's book, I can say that I am slowly becoming his fan. And the next book I think I'm going to pick of his is Pet Sematary. That is what people say is even more scary / creepy. So I thought, okay, maybe I can try reading that book. So if you've read this book before or if you're planning to read this book, do let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching till here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.